Good evening, and apologies for coming late at 5 minutes at least late on my English intake or in English insight on global higher education. So this is a top. This is first of all our first appearance from a very long time. Unfortunately we stopped. I have traveled a little bit, then I come back, and now I hope that we can keep a schedule where I can come every day on our appointment 8:45 to talk about a certain topic. So today I will talk about higher education and the changes that happened through history in higher education and how it has impacted our people across the globe. In the beginning, I would like to talk about ease of access for higher education and information. There was a significant change in the ease of access to information and ease of access to international degrees and international universities. So if we take Jordan, for example, if we look at it before 1990, there was less than maybe 5 or 6 universities in Jordan. Now we have at least 12 official Jordanian universities and more than 20 private universities. So we can see an increase in the access of getting an education and the ability to get a higher degree, for example, a bachelor degree, and we can see a lot of changes in the ease of access of information across the globe. So that's first of all the amount of universities that have spread across the globe, and the second aspect is the ease of access to information. So how university worked before, let me say, the internet has changed dramatically than how universities work with the internet. So today you can see a course from a Harvard or Stanford University being published on one of the e-learning courses or e-learning websites. So we can see that the top universities have published courses, and they can spread information, and they can spread their lectures through the internet. In addition to that, you can have a tremendous access to journals and scientific information through the search engine and through the internet. So the function of the university as a hub for information and getting specific, highly technical information has changed tremendously to the amount of information that is there and to the amount of universities that are there. The difference is that the universities will continue to create knowledge, but I think the delivery has changed significantly. So I can see that the university role is fundamentally associated with creating knowledge rather than the delivery of information or the delivery of lectures. So you don't have to do a course every week. You do it one time and you publish a video course about it. Then maybe thousands and hundreds of thousands of students can attend that course. However, you still need to create content, and you still need to create new courses, and you still need to create new paths of learning. Now, I think we need to touch on the second aspect. So we talked about ease of access to information and ease of access to higher education and ease of access to degrees. The second aspect is the association of jobs and technical training with higher education. So the main motivation for higher education across the globe was that higher education will be highly associated with giving you a better job. You will get a more specific knowledge. You will be trained to become a professional worker. And what I mean by professional worker, you can be a professional teacher, you can be a professional doctor, you can be a professional engineer, and there are different professional tracks that the universities actually have built their curriculum around. So they would like to build a better a more professional engineer out of you, a more professional doctor out of you, and they would like to guard you with knowledge, skills, and information associated around that career. And I think in many parts of the world, I think the universities are still functioning in a reasonable way about the amount of, let me say, trained professional workers they produce and the demands in the market. However, in our region, whether it was in the, let me say, in Jordan or it was in the Gulf regions, we see an imbalance between the amount of graduates and the amount of jobs that is created for these graduates. So we can see that I can take a civil engineering as an example. So I'm looking at the amount of flats that was sold in general, not only flats and lands, different real estate assets that can be seen as a main capital component of a civil engineering work. We can see that around 2,775 real estate assets from flats and lands were sold in the year 2017. 20% of these were sold for foreigners. I would consider this figure represent 20% of the total flats and lands that were sold in Jordan. So we can see that these flats, based on a productivity of 10 flats per engineer, which I think it's a very reasonable number, we can see that these flats need, in order to be delivered, need 1,400 engineers in total. Unfortunately, only the new civil engineering graduates that is coming from Jordanian universities, I would expect the figure will be around 12,000 civil engineer graduating every year. So we can see a clear market imbalance, which part of it will be part of this supply will be taken by the Gulf countries, will be taken by other countries, will be taken by higher education, but we can still see that the supply is still very high for the amount of training and professional courses that was given to these engineers. So this is the first problem that I think we need to think about it in a very profound way, as we are facing unprecedented challenge in this aspect. So the amount of supply is highly more than the amount of demand for the professional jobs that the universities are producing. So this is the first aspect where we can talk about a bachelor degree, which is a degree that is designed to create a professional worker out of you. And I can argue that most professions have high saturation, high level of saturation, and that universities actually need to adopt and change their courses to create new jobs, or to create new training paths, or to create new skills development paths. The second aspect is about the jobs, or the role of universities to create knowledge and to create new training paths and to be able to create new jobs and to create innovations. And we can see that, unfortunately, in spite of the high number of PhD holders or the high number of doctors in the universities, we can see a direct correlation with the amount of companies that is being created, or with the amount of innovations that is being created, or with the amount of economical value, even as a training course or as a training materials, or even as a economical theories or economical way of thought. We can see that, unfortunately, a lack of productivity or a lack of effectiveness across the two main functions of universities, which is creating knowledge and innovation, and building the next generation of skilled workforce. And for that reason, I think we need to think critically on how we can overcome such a challenge, as our generation is facing a challenge that the other generation have never faced, And I think it's very important that we think of even models that can be beyond universities, or it can be uh, new ways of learning, or new ways of creating information, or new ways of creating new innovations, and new ways for skills development. So this is my quick intake on this. I will be coming back with more details on other videos, but I will leave you with this thought, and it's for you to think about it for some time, and it's for you to try to shed your opinions about it. And we would say, and with that, I would say, have a great evening, and we'll see you tomorrow. Take care.